If you are coding in JavaScript and not using these array methods, then you are doing too much work, guys. So let's start with map method. Map is an array method that is used to transform each element of an array and create a new array with transformed values. Okay, now look at the syntax. It takes two things, guys. One is callback function and other one is this argument. Okay, and again callback function will take three things. First one is current value, second one is index, and third one is array. Okay, here callback function will run on each element of an array. Okay, second, current value will tell the current value on which the function is working on. Okay, simple. And index is index of current value. Okay, and array is nothing but our original array. Okay, and coming to this argument, it's just a value to use as this inside the callback function. Now let's see all these things with examples. So here let's create a new array. So I'm gonna write let array 2. Okay, and that is equal to, let's write array and then write dot map. Okay, simple. And we all know it takes a callback function. So let me write function here. Okay, simple. And this will take three things. First one is current value, so I'll write it as CV. And second one is index, so let's write index. And third one is array, so I'll write ARR. Okay, simple. Now let's open curly brackets. Yeah, I'm not taking this argument because that is completely optional and we mostly never use that. Let's write here console.log and let's write here CV comma index comma array. Okay, simple. Now let me run this one. So guys, if you look at the output, we got 1, that means current value equal to 1, and 0, that means index of current value is 0, obviously, right? Okay, and we got array, that is nothing but original array. Okay, and coming to number 2, that means second element of the array, that means function is running on the second element of the array. And what is the index of second element? That is 1. Okay, that is why we got 1, and this is original array. Okay, this is just to prove you that this function will execute on every element of this array, and current value will point to current value and index will point to the index of current value, and array is nothing but original array. Okay, simple. Now let me write here console.log and let me write here ARR2. Okay, simple. Now if we run this one, you see we'll get undefined at the end. Why? Because always remember that map method expects callback function to return something. Okay, if we are not returning anything from the callback function explicitly, then by default that callback function will return undefined, and that is why we'll get output as undefined. Okay, to fix that, let's just comment this one first. Okay, we don't need this, and let's write here return, and let's write here maybe let me write CV and I'll multiply each current value with 2. Okay, simple. Now let me run this one. Yeah, you see now we got new array which contains new elements, that is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Now let's make some changes. So here array and index are optional, so I'm not keeping them, and let's change this to arrow function. So I can put here arrow function, and then let's remove this function here. And since we are having only one parameter, we don't need parentheses. Okay, and remember guys, if you are using arrow function and you're returning only one thing, then you don't need to put curly brackets and return explicitly. Okay, because it automatically returns that. So that is why let me remove this return. Okay, simple. And sorry, let me remove this one. Okay, simple. And let's remove this curly bracket also. Yeah, now this looks much better, right? So let me run this once again. You see we got same output. This is about map method, guys. Now let's talk about filter. Filter is an array method that creates a new array containing only elements that pass a given condition. Okay, if you look at syntax, it is same as map, guys. We'll have callback function, we'll have current value, we'll have index, array, and this argument, everything will be same. Only difference is that, wait, let me show you. So here let's replace this map with filter. So I'll write filter here. Okay, and let's filter out values which are greater than 2. So I'll write here greater than 2. Okay, simple. Now let's run this one. Yeah, you see guys, we got output as 3, 4, 5 because only those values satisfying the condition. Okay, now the difference is that the length of new array returned by filter is equal to or less than original array. Okay, but in case of map, the length of new array is always equal to length of original array. Okay, that is very important. That is all about filter, guys. Now let's talk about find. Find is an array method that returns first element that satisfies the given condition. And again, coming to syntax, it is same, guys. We'll have callback function, we'll have current value, index, array, this argument, everything will be same. Only difference is that, wait, let me show you that again. So here, let's replace this filter with find. Okay, I'll write here find. And here we are finding elements which are greater than 2. So let me run this one. You see guys, we only got one value, that is 3. So guys, the difference is that find method will return single value, not the array. Okay. Second thing, here even though 4 and 5 are also greater than 2, but find only returned the value 3. Why? Because it only returns the value that first satisfies the condition in the array. Okay, that is important guys. That is all about find guys. Now let's talk about fourth method, that is forEach. Okay, so guys, forEach is an array method in JavaScript that runs callback function on each item in an array and it doesn't return anything. Okay, so coming to syntax, again same guys, it will take callback function, current value, index, array and this argument. So let me show you that with an example. So I'll write here array dot, let's write forEach guys. Okay, and we all know this will take a callback function. So I'll write here current value. I want to take only one parameter, and let's write here console.log. Okay, and let's write here CV plus 2. So basically I'm adding plus 2 to each element of an array. So let me run this one. You see guys, 2 is added for each element of an array. Okay, so remember guys, forEach doesn't return anything. We can only use it when we want to do something on each element of an array, or when you want to update a variable, etc. This is about forEach guys. Now let's talk about fifth method, that is reduce. Reduce is an array method that is used to reduce array to a single value by running function on each element of an array one by one. Okay, simple. And coming to syntax, it will take two things guys. One is callback function and other one is initial value. Okay, now callback function will take four things. First one is accumulator. Here accumulator means it is a value that carries result from one step to next step while going through an array. We will see that with an example in a moment. Okay, next we have current value, which you already know, and then index and then array. Okay, and coming to initial value, it is a value that needs to be passed to accumulator in first iteration. Okay, so this is about syntax of reduce method guys. Now let's see this with an example. So guys, here we have an array with 1 3 5 6. Okay, so let's take a new variable. I'm going to name it as sum. Okay, and let's write here array dot reduce. Okay, simple. And this will take callback function. I'm going to write array function directly. So let's write here accumulator. So I'll take it as ACC, and then let's take current value, which is CV. I'm ignoring rest of things because they are optional. Now let's write here return accumulator plus current value. Okay, simple. And here comes the initial value guys. So initial value, always remember that you can give anything. Okay, so here I'm gonna give 1. Okay, now let's write here console.log. Let's write here sum guys. Okay, now let's see what is the value of sum. So I'll just write node app.js. Yeah, you see guys, we got output as 16. Now let me tell you how we ended up getting this 16. Okay, so guys, if you look at the table, always remember that when initial value equal to 0, 1 or anything, accumulator will take that initial value. Okay, and current value equal to first element of an array. Okay, so here what is the first element? 1. So that is why current value will take 1. And what is accumulator? It will take 1 because 1 is the initial value that we have given, right? So what is the result? Accumulator plus current value. 1 plus 1, 2. Okay, and as per definition, if you remember, accumulator will carry the result of first step, right? So that is why here in the second iteration, accumulator will be 2. Okay, and what is the current value? 3. So 2 plus 3 will become 5. Simple guys. Now in the next iteration, what is accumulator? 5. And what is the current value? It will be 5 again. So 5 plus 5, 10. Okay, now in the last iteration, what is the accumulator value? It is 10. And what is the current value? Which is 6, right? Last element of array. Now 10 plus 6 will become 16. Okay, so that is how it will work, and that is how we end up getting the value 16. Now let me show you one interesting thing. Let me remove this one. Okay, so I'm going to remove this one here, and let's see what we'll get in the output. Okay, yeah, you see guys, now we got output as 15. So something got changed, right? So now let me tell you what happens when you don't provide any initial value. So guys, this is very important. Listen carefully. So when you don't provide initial value to reduce method, always remember that accumulator will take first element of array. Okay, and current value will take second element of array. Okay, that is important guys. So that is why here accumulator equal to 1 and current value equal to 3. And what is the output? We got 1 plus 3, 4. Okay, in the next iteration, what is the accumulator value? 4, because that is the result of last step, right? So now what is the current value? Which is number 5. Now what is 4 plus 5? Which is 9. Okay, now in the last iteration, what is the accumulator value? Which is the result from last step, which is 9. And what is the current value? That is last element of array, which is 6. Now what is 9 plus 6? 15. Okay, so that is how we ended up getting the value 15 guys. Okay, so you can experiment by changing the initial values from 0, 1 or anything, but this is the rule. When you don't provide initial value, first element will be accumulator and second element will be current value. Okay, so that is it for the video guys. If you found this video useful, please give it a like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.